Welcome back to the Daughters of the Moon podcast. Mom and I are really grateful that you can join us for another week. And we are excited because we are doing number 7 of the 12 with Dennis Henson with his book, Real Impact. So today, the story that we're going to listen to and then we'll discuss a little bit is called 25,000 Books. So we will listen to that and then we will have a little discussion about it.
Perfect.
25,000 books. Hillary Hinton Zig Ziglar was born in South Alabama in 1926, the 10th of 12 children. When he was 5, his family moved to Yazoo City, Mississippi, where Zig spent most of his childhood. Growing up in Mississippi left Ziglar with an enduring Southern accent. As a young man, he made his living marketing cookware, selling enough pots and pans to earn a management position. Ziglar was so skilled in selling that he successfully made the challenging transition from direct marketing to motivational speaking. A kind and generous man, Ziglar wanted to help people realize their potential. So early in the 1970s, he decided to author a how-to guide to health, happiness, and success. Countless hours were devoted to his venture. He wrote about attitude, faith, courage, motivation, healthy living, selling, integrity, and winning. After many months of research, meditation, and soul searching, his book, See You at the Top, was ready for publication. With great enthusiasm, he submitted his manuscript to major publishing companies of the day and gave them his best sales pitch. Unfortunately, none of them were interested in the book about success. He then contacted other publishers, only to find that they were also skeptical. Yet Zig was not the kind of person to let a little rejection dampen his enthusiasm. As a salesman, he was accustomed to hearing no. A no only strengthened his resolve and moved him closer to a yes. So Ziglar submitted his manuscript to some smaller publishers. But alas, those companies also turned him down. Some even stated there wasn't a market for a book about hype. 39 no's later, Ziglar was disappointed but not ready to give up. Facing the kind of rebuff most authors would have thrown in the towel, but Zig wasn't like most authors. He knew his books would sell if given a chance. He even believed it could become a blockbuster. In his mind's eye, he envisioned See You at the Top helping thousands of people become healthier, more productive, and enjoying the fruits of success. He anticipated lives being changed for the better because of the information in his book. So Zig Ziglar made an extraordinary and courageous move. He published the book himself. Keep in mind that at the time, there were no print-on-demand publishing companies or websites to lead you through the complicated process of putting a book in print. Self-publishing was not a simple procedure. The printing cost alone would require a substantial financial risk. Nevertheless, Zig located a company that would produce his book, but only if he prepaid for 1,000 copies. However, with 25,000 copies, he would receive a substantial price break. Zig knew that most authors never sell 250 books, much less 25,000. And certainly no reputable publisher would have recommended placing an order of that size, especially for an unproven product. But Zig Ziglar's desire to help people outweighed his fear. So he invested his money in his dream. Placing an order of that size must have taken a great deal of courage, but faith and courage were what his book was about. To Zig, the 25,000 books were only a first step toward helping millions of people. He knew to reach his goal, he would not only need to sell those books, but also millions more. Zig was confident in his decision because he knew you can have everything in life you want if you will just help enough other people to get what they want. Zig Ziglar. A few weeks later, thousands of pounds of books were delivered to the Ziglar home, and Zig knew precisely what to do. He'd taught it in his speeches for years. It was time for him to prime the pump. Zig often told the story of two friends driving their truck through South Alabama on a hot day. With the August sun beating down, they became thirsty. So when they passed an abandoned farmhouse and spotted an artesian well with an old pump, one of them jumped out to get a drink of water. Yet when he tried the pump, nothing came out. His friend explained, "To get anything out of that pump, you must first put something in." "What do you mean?" "Well, you have to prime the pump." So he found an old bucket and dipped it in a nearby stream. Then he poured some of the water into the old pump and said, Now try it. Still, nothing came out. Don't stop. Keep on pumping and pump harder. And though it seemed nothing was happening, the young man kept pumping. When you put something in, the law of compensation says you'll get something out. Zig Ziglar. After a while, the pump started to make gurgling sounds. Then, like magic, a stream of cool, clear water poured from the pump spigot. The flow was steady and abundant, and to keep the water flowing now only took an easy, smooth stroke of the pump handle. The amount of water was plentiful, and the two young men enjoyed the fruits of their labor with a cool drink of water. Ziegler knew that he must first put something in to achieve his goal. So in addition to his investment of money, he devoted his time and energy to the project. Never expecting a quick return, he simply worked and embraced his faith. Like Zig said in his story, you've got to sweat at it and pump away for some time before expecting the water to come. If you work hard enough, long enough, and enthusiastically enough, your rewards will start to flow. Day after day and week after week, Ziegler enthusiastically promoted See You at the Top. He was determined to do whatever was necessary to get his book into the hands of people who needed it, and he never let the possibility of failure enter his mind. After months of labor, the word began to spread about an excellent new book containing some valuable information. Then, as suddenly as the water had appeared from the old pump, Zig's book began to take on a life of its own. Sales organizations and marketing companies purchased large quantities for their sales forces. Parents bought it for their children. People looking to improve their lot in life descended on hundreds of bookstores requesting Zig Ziglar's new book, See You at the Top. Ziglar's plan worked, and his investments of money, time, and effort paid off. But he didn't slow down. He continued to promote until the first 25,000 books vanished, and he had to place a second order. And still he didn't stop pumping. He continued until a third order had been depleted. Finally, the book that would not sell was being sold in such quantities that keeping up with the printing became a problem. Then something quite remarkable happened. Zig's phone started to ring. The people who insulted him now asked for a contract to handle See You at the Top. Last time I checked, Zig's extraordinary book had sold over 1,600,000 copies in hardcover alone, and after 47 years, it's still going strong. I genuinely hope this story makes you wonder what Zig said in that book, and that you choose to read I'll See You at the Top. Author's note. I want to especially thank Ms. Lori Majors, Zig Ziglar's longtime executive assistant, for her help and support with this book. You were born to win.
Well,
Wonderful.
good story. Really good story. It just shows what the three of us are to do. Yeah, it's
when I was first going into the business world back in the mid-70s, we went in for a sales meeting and they showed a projector. They had a reel-to-reel projector of Zig Ziglar telling the story about priming the pump. And so I saw that 50 years ago. So I always thought that was an amazing story. And then when I found out that he'd had such a difficult time promoting and getting his See You at the Top published, I thought, well, that'd be great if I could put those two together. So I contacted his secretary. I called his office, and his personal assistant, Lori Magers, she answered the phone, and we became friends over the phone, and she helped me with the story. She helped me make sure that it was accurate, and I really appreciated her doing that. But yeah, I think it's an excellent story, and I think Zig Ziglar was an absolutely wonderful person. He helped a lot of people.
Yeah, he really did. And I love the message too in it that, it doesn't matter how many no's you have. If this is something that your heart is really set on, just keep going. And, I hear that so often. I like to watch The Voice. And that's one of the messages that they tell these contestants, though, right? When they don't make it through, they're like, we've all been told no. And, we still sometimes get told no. So don't give up on your dreams if that's really what you want to aspire to. So I love that message that's in there as well.
Right. And you can still see, if you go to YouTube, you can still see Zig Ziglar telling the story and priming the pump. He tells it, he's excited when he tells the story. It's really, he did a wonderful job with it. And it's a true story.
Which is even better. And it's nice when people can convey these true stories and then inspire us to do these things and realize that we all have this knowledge in the palm of our hand, really, right? And to be influenced and, like you said, go to YouTube and, check these things out and read his book to be even more
Right.
inspired.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
The end of that story said, I hope you liked what we talked about and that you'll read. But that's actually not what it says in the book. It says, and if you did, I'll see you at the top. So when you read the book, you're going to get a little bit of a different ending. And I like the one that I wrote better than this one. I don't know how that got changed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that happens, though.
They do.
That's that.
That's what your book's all about, is inspiring people to be the best they could be, not to be afraid to go after what they want. And these stories are all about that. You've written, and it's a great way of pushing people to see what they can do. It's a beautiful way, and your book is awesome that way. That's why we're doing this right now.
Thank you very much.
I watched a video when I was in sales years ago. It was called Pull Your Own Chute. And I was losing some of my, I guess, thrill doing what I was doing. So I watched that, and then I went skydiving because that's what it was about. And it helped to invigorate me enough again to get back on top of my game. But I needed something to push me in that direction. So I guess it was the same thing as what you're trying to do with this also. I think it was, don't be afraid to try it because it might work.
That's true. Sometimes all it takes is just a little motivation, something, a quote or a poem. A lot of times people ask me, well, what helped you get up when you got knocked down? Well, the things in this book. That's why I saved them for all those years and put them in the book. Now I'm sharing them with other people, and I hope it helps them get up when they're down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found when I read the book that it really, for me, it was inspiring. Like I had a few laughs while I was reading some different things. Like even though they were inspiring, there was some moments of humor in there, and I just really loved it because every story was just so inspirational to me, and it was like, oh, this is such a great story to share with people, and and I love that your mission is to get this book out there to be sharing with everybody, right? You provide it for free on your website. So, you're just encouraging people to be inspired to lead the best life that they can, which I think is really honorable.
I think you
Very
can.
much.
I didn't write the book to make $1 million, although that would be nice, but I wrote it to help 1 million people. And like Zig said, if you help enough people get what they want, then you'll get what you want. So, and the book is, if you're tuning into this for the first time, you can get an ebook copy by going to my website, realimpactbook.com. Scrolling down to the bottom and clicking on Podcast Attendee. I made my dog promise if I left him in here, he would be quiet. So I guess he lied to me.
Oh,
He
well.
also wanted to promote you. He's like, are you listening, everybody?
Yeah, when I read the book, I haven't finished the book, mind you, but I did, my son, Kim's brother, you have to do this, Dean, you have to read this because he is going through for a bodybuilder and in competing. And I said to him, I'll inspire you not to give, and he hasn't. He's doing remarkably well. So thank you for that.
Well, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Another thing, if you do go to the website, willimpactbook.com, the very first link says the mystery of the lamp, because there's a picture of a lamp on the front of the book. So I hope that you'll go there and click on that and listen to what the lamp's significance is on the book, on the front of the book. So there's a lot of things on that website. We have a little game there where it says one of the lamps escaped from the front of the book. And if you can find it in the website, you have to click through all the pages. Then you get the audio book, which you just played part of. You get that for free if you find the lamp,
Nice.
if you find a little lamp.
Well, which is inspiring in itself, right? Because I think anything like that that adds a little humor and adds a little fun is, I think that's how most people learn a little bit better is by really through enjoyment. So, when you can do that, and I'm 100% in agreement, and I know Mom is too, and I'm certain that you are in the law of compensation. When you're putting it out and you're giving it out, you get it back. So,
That's right. That's right.
I think it's a wonderful thing all of us are doing because you're getting that word out there. You're making people's lives more positive by reading and listening, and that's a good thing.
Exactly. Well, one of the reasons I'm giving it for free is because someone's going to get that and they're going to read a little of it. They're going to say, oh, graduation's coming up. This would be great for my niece or my nephew graduating from high school or college. Or they're going to be like you and say, I know someone who's having a hard time right now. This might cheer them up. So, getting the word out is important, even if you have to give it away. I saw a thing on the foods that built America. And when Coca-Cola was invented, no one was interested. They couldn't get anybody to drink it. It just didn't go over very well at the beginning. So the inventor went from town to town and opened up a little stand and gave away free Cokes. Anybody gave them a ticket, gave tickets out all over town. And anybody that wanted the Coke, they bring their ticket, they got one. And after they tasted it, they thought, hey, this is pretty good. Oh, that's how it got started.
And it's still around.
But and I find that for most businesses and things, you see that, right? There's always a little bit that's free, right? Whatever it is, you've got a coupon off or you've got, sign up for this little bit of a free course. And so it's not that there's not monetary things and that we don't want to have that as well for ourselves, but it's nice to, do these things for people to, well, entice them, but also to make them feel like they're wanted and that they want to be a part of whatever it is that you're offering.
Exactly. If you like bargains, let's say graduation's coming up in May, and then I think most birthdays happen around August. So every part of the year, there's something going on, and we have a special. It's the bottom link on the first page that says this month's special. Sometimes this month's special is a free book. I think right now it's Think and Grow Rich. But if you go there every month, you'll see something different. So you may find something there that you want. You may want to get them when they're 3 for 2 or 2 for 1, whatever, or 40% off. You may want to get several of them and keep them for gifts. To give.
Right.
The other thing about your book that was really nice as well was, that at the back of the book, you gave a huge list of books for people to read, based on some of the stories and based on your collection of things that you've kept, which I thought was really cool because, and then the quotes, because I'm definitely a quote person. I have my own binder full of inspirational quotes to me. So, and it's funny because most people that know me that know that, they'll send me quotes right on the phone, like, hey, I saw this quote, thought of you. So I
Great.
think, and I think that's great because I think, you know, the message that you're giving there is there's so much out there that we can grab onto and, you know, just encourage ourselves. So I think that's a wonderful message.
The the reason that I collected those quotes was when I first started in business, the company gave me three books that really motivated me. And so I was anxious to find more books and become more motivated. So there was a company in Waco, Texas. I didn't live in Texas at the time, I lived in Georgia. But there was a company called SNI, and they offered motivational tapes, but it was a membership. So as long as you were a member, they would send you two tapes and you'd listen to them and send them back and then send you two more. So I purchased a tape copy machine. And so when I would get them the same day, I would copy them and send them back. So I ended up with an entire library of motivational tapes. And I was driving all over North Florida and South Georgia. So every time I would hear a poem or a quote on those motivational tapes that really, really kicked me, I thought, oh, that's so good. I'd pull the car over and write it down. So I've been collecting these for 50 years. It's nice. I didn't go to the internet and say, find me some quotes. No, they're much more powerful than that. I mean, they
Yeah.
really are.
Yeah, that's kind of how I've collected mine over the times is, well, I mean some of them over the internet, but more so you're reading something and you know you're reading some whatever document on there and somebody's made this quote and you're like, "Oh, that's brilliant." But sometimes I'm like, it's not a quote out of the book and it's like, "That's brilliant. That should go in my quote book," because even though it's not technically the quote from them, it really is because the message is so strong.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yes, we have come a long way that yes, it is and I mean that's okay for some people that works for them, but yes, I'm old fashioned like you and I like to just get them out of books and things that I'm reading.
Right. For the people who haven't heard me here before, the book was created to help you form a habit, which is a very powerful thing to form a positive habit. So it's written in such a way so that you can read every single day, regardless of your time. If you have 5 minutes, you can read a poem. If you have 30 minutes, you can read a short story. If you have an hour and a half, you can read one of the books in the back. And there's enough reading suggestions in the back of that book to last you forever. You can just read and read and read because after I finished listing the books, I started listing subjects. The Great Wall of China. I mean, there's all kinds of really interesting subjects in the back of the book so that you can keep your reading habit. But the hardest part about a habit is getting started, getting to the point where you don't have to think anymore. The habit's already taken over. That's what habit means. Your subconscious is going to have you do that. Like I walk every day. And I'm going to walk every day. And if I hit the bed and I didn't walk, I wouldn't be able to sleep. I'd have to get up. In fact, I did that. I had a speaking engagement 2 weeks ago. And I was exhausted. We worked all day and traveled. And I thought, I'm going to get some sleep. I went to bed early. I had to get up early the next morning. And then I realized I don't have my steps. So I got up out of the bed in the hotel, put my clothes on, and went and did the steps. So that's what a habit will do. If you can form a strong habit, and reading something positive every day is really powerful, especially if it's leading you toward a specific goal. And it keeps reminding you what your goal is. And like
Yeah.
Zig Ziglar said, we're talking about Zig, little by little, a little becomes a lot. If you just read 20 pages of a 200-page book every day for a year, you will have read 20 books. That's 19 more than the average person. Think how that will set you apart.
Yeah.
Zig read 3 hours every day. I've heard him say that many, many times. Can you imagine reading 3 hours every day? No matter, and no wonder the guy was so smart.
I'd wonder where you'd find that time now.
Yes. Yes.
I love reading, and we actually made a book club, and so we pick fiction books, but we have a few motivational books in there as well. And it's quite funny because I'm actually a very quick reader, and I usually have about 2 or 3 books on the go. But it's funny because the girls will say, "Slow down, we can't keep up," right? Well,
Yeah,
so
they do.
but it's great because I had kind of gotten out of the habit of reading as much because I wasn't fitting it into my schedule. And so this has been great because now I'm fitting it in, and mom is
It
in the
is
book
great.
club as well. And aw.
It is. Aw.
To
Hello.
be on the podcast.
Yes. That's good. He should be on the podcast.
Aw. I love dogs. We both dogs. Yeah. No, the book club is lots of fun, and it inspired me to read more too. So that's a thing, you know. I already have my own habits too that I abide by. You know, exercise is one for me. Just move. And you know, when I miss it for a couple days, I'm upset myself because it's like, I'm not doing this because I haven't done that. And, you know, it all comes back to habit. And so yeah, it's a good thing to do. Read whatever it does to motivate you to be the best you can is what it's all about, right? And so
And if you
yeah.
form the habit of reading something positive every day that leads you towards your ultimate goal, you have to know what your ultimate goal is. That's
Yes, and that
kind of a
too.
trick. So, you know, it really helps if you have something that you're moving toward, just like Zig Ziglar wanted to sell those 25,000 books. That was his goal. And he thought about it every day, and he did something about it every day, and he poured his time and his money into it. And it became a super successful book.
Yeah, beautiful.
I haven't read that one yet, but we'll put it on the list.
Exactly.
Well,
Well, we agree.
we really sorry, go ahead, Mom.
No, go ahead. It's been awesome
I
to
was
talk about this again. Look forward to
Yeah, it is. And I
it.
think this is great that we can take these little snippets of your book and share them with people and, sort of discuss them a little bit. And I think that's really, going to help people out to find these books, find your book. And, both of Mom and I would highly recommend your book because we really enjoyed it. So, get the book. And
I hope everyone will. And if you are a member of a book club and you're watching, please recommend Real Impact Daily Inspiration to the book club. And if they will let me know, I'll give them a really great deal if everyone in the book club wants to do that. And also keep in mind that I'm available for public speaking. If you know someone who's looking for a keynote speaker or whatever, it's easy to get in touch with me. Go to realimpactbook.com, and where it says contact us right at the top, it has my email and phone number there.
perfect.
And I'm also available if you just, if you're down and out and need some encouragement, just give me a call. I'm
Nice.
semi-retired.
Well, that is wonderful and very gracious of you. So we do really appreciate you being with us today and sharing this story. And we look forward to, we got all 12 of them. So make sure everybody tunes in for all 12. And yeah, it was wonderful being with you again.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you, and I love you both. I appreciate you having me.
Well, thank you.
Thank you so much.
So,
Thank you.
yes.
Well, until next time.
Yes. And everybody else, we will see you the next time.
You bet.